and welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
And this episode is the 2020 version of Emma. Yeah. Oh.
Had you seen this?
I had not seen it.
Okay.
I was going to, and then we put it on the list, and then I mean, obviously, I didn't end up watching it when it first came out. I don't really know why. And then I was going to, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, and it was kind of low-key on the list, so I just didn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Had you?
No, because I hate Emma.
Yes.
As you'll see if you pay attention and realize that this is the only Emma we'll ever do, except what's on our Patreon this month.
Yeah.
But I think probably because I did it wrong. I started with Gwyneth, which is a bad decision, and then I read the book.
And then you read the book? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think... So when I read all of Austen, I read it in the order of that they do it in Jane Austen Book Club.
Right.
Because that's how I decided to do that. And so Emma was first, and it's a really bad one to start with especially when you're not used to the language.
No, for sure. I had definitely read a lot of other older classics before I read Emma. I think I read Jane Eyre in high school, and I read Pride and Prejudice in high school, and then I didn't read Emma until university.
Yeah.
In first or second year. So yeah, so I think that helps. It wasn't one of the, I'd read it later because it is there's just lots of gossipy, boring stuff.
Yeah, and I feel again, I haven't actually looked. I have nothing to base this on, but I feel like it's long. I feel like it's longer than the other ones, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that it works because it's just her and she's just in her brain and she's a snobby snob. So anyway, so I didn't like it. And at the beginning of this, I was like, ugh, she's a snobby snob.
Yeah, it is her longest book.
It is her longest one. Okay.
Yeah. So
it wasn't just feeling that. So at the beginning of this, I was like, she's a snobby snob. I don't know if I'm going to be... how I'm going to feel about this movie that lots of people love. And by the end, I was like, yeah, I get it. I'm into this now. This one and Paul Rudd can stay. These two.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this movie took me a while to win me over. I really like Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's amazing. And she was great, but there was probably not the very beginning, but there was at least half an hour in the first half that I was like, what is happening?
What is this? Yeah, and and it definitely brought back not triggering, but memories of Gwyneth and also the book of it's really hard to remember who is who in this one. It's not really explained. It's definitely not explained who Harriet is. It's one line at the very beginning of the movie. Then she's just there the entire time. So there's a lot of that I was able to keep up with in this one, but it definitely is a lot of the problem in the book, for sure. Yeah,
man. And it took me a while to stop being okay, so this is so-and-so in Clueless.
Yeah, exactly. I also did that a lot. Yeah.
But the thing with Clueless is also it's not a one-to-one of all the characters.
No, I don't think there's Jane Fairfax in that at all. Amber's in there, but I think she's an amalgamation of a bunch of characters.
Yeah, there's kind of all the other girls.
All the side, yeah,
it's more vibes and also the main characters, but yeah. And then also Bill Nighy charmed me as always.
I know.
And also Rupert Graves is really delightful and unhinged.
Yeah. Not Rupert Graves. Is that what
Rupert Graves is Mr. Weston.
Oh, Mr. Weston. I thought
the old guy.
I was thinking about Elton, Josh O'Connor. Also super unhinged. But Rupert Graves is there and he's so delightful, and I was like, should I watch Sherlock?
Oh man, I did rewatch Sherlock. Did I tell you that?
No, maybe?
Oh.
This year?
I finished it a long time. Yeah,
okay.
No, last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good times. Was it when you were in your hot priest phase?
Probably.
Yeah.
Would make sense. Yeah, and then I'd never seen the guy who plays Knightley.
No, me either.
He's lovely.
He's lovely and really funny.
Yes.
I've seen the meme of him lying on the floor. So I knew it was coming, but it was good stuff.
Oh, he played Ian Fleming in Operation Mincemeat, which I saw the musical of when I was in London. Yeah, he's been in a lot of British things. I have seen him. I just didn't know it. He's in the Ripley miniseries, speaking of the hot priest.
Oh.
He plays Dickie Greenleaf.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I never finished it because it requires a lot of attention, but
yeah,
it's on the list. Anyways, yes, Johnny Flynn. He's lovely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give me
he
feelings.
can sing. Mm-hmm. He can make me swoon.
Yep.
Yeah, A+. And then, yeah, rounding out the sort of main men, we'll get to the women, I'm sure, but is Josh Connor, who plays Elton, and Callum Turner, who plays Frank Churchill. And they're the same person, right?
Like, I know, right? Like, I was looking at IMDb because I was trying to figure out Rupert Graves, because I was like, I know this man from British things, and then obviously I figured it out. But I was looking at I was like glancing through the cast photos, and their cast photos, or their IMDb photos, are almost the same. And I was like, wait, what? What's happening?
No, it's so weird. And I don't think they've been in anything else together, but so Callum Turner was in the World War II airplane one.
Masters of the Air.
Masters of the Air. And the whole time I thought it was Josh Connor until I looked it up. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and he plays Scamander in the Fantastic Beasts movies also.
Oh, okay.
But then I was like, okay, which one was in the sexy tennis movie? Josh Connor. Josh Connor was also Prince Charles in The Crown.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they look the exact same. Mm-hmm. And so this movie was very confusing.
Yeah. And then I think also like Frank Churchill, Callum, what did you say?
Callum Turner.
Callum Turner. His face, he's just like got a nothing face.
He wasn't great in this, but it's also kind of like the whole point of this is that he's just really hot and rich. Mm-hmm. But he was really, really good in Masters of the Air.
Yeah, I only watched
like he is good, but yeah, I think he wasn't great in this, or it's just not it's not that interesting a character.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then there's one other guy that we forgot that is Name from Sex Education.
Oh yeah,
he plays the farmer in this. Plays Adam in Sex Education.
Oh
I didn't know it was him until halfway through the movie because all of his scenes were like very far away, and he was just a tall man.
And his hair is super different. Yeah, Connor Swindles.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he has like
Connor Swindles. Yeah,
one line, but he's adorable because he always is.
Adorable. I loved him a lot. And then also the
Elton's wife,
Mrs. Elton.
Yeah,
it was also in Sex Education, and she was so normal in this compared to that movie. Yeah, Tanya Reynolds. I think there's somebody else too that was in.
Probably. I think
the guy who played Connor Swindles' dad is like a tiny role in this too.
Yeah, I saw that on IMDb and I couldn't figure out who he was, and then I
either.
Didn't care enough.
Yeah, but no, he was great. And then so then obviously Anya Taylor-Joy is Emma, and she was great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because she's just very fun and interesting to watch.
Yes, and I think with this one is they don't have an internal monologue like Clueless, even though that's not very long, but it does exist. But there's not a lot you can do. Like you have to do it physically, and like there's a lot more physicality in this than there would ever have been in the 90s anyway, let alone Gwyneth. But you can see how she changes from her face, and she does an amazing job. And like the stuff she does at the end, you can just tell that she's different. Yeah,
when she's like so horny for Mr. Knightley.
Yeah. But also there's a part at the beginning where he's talking about how she'll never read a book because she can't hold her inside thoughts long enough or something like that. And at the end, the last scene before the wedding is she's reading a book, and I'm like,
I know,
that's a really nice subtle way of showing how much she's changed.
Yeah, they do a really good job of Emma's character growth in this. Yeah. Like, especially compared to the Gwyneth Paltrow one. Oh my god. I think I might not have even finished that movie. Which I guess then I wouldn't know, but it was just bad.
Owned it, and it was my first introduction to Austen. And I think that's why I have this problem.
Yeah,
is that, fair enough. Like, that's just bad.
Ugh, yeah.
It's probably also why I like hold Clueless so tight to my heart.
Indeed. And yeah, but also, like, I'm just not a big Gwyneth Paltrow
fan.
fan.
Especially in the 90s when she was British for a little while. Like, ugh. Anyway.
Go away. Yeah. And then, okay, so there's also some other amazing actresses in the female role. So Miranda Hart, who plays Miss Bates, the sort of like busybody, whatever, like older lady. She is in Call the Midwife. She plays Chummy, I think. Amazing. She's just, I love her to pieces. And Mia Goth, who plays Harriet, is like,
Yeah,
she was very good.
Really good. Yeah.
I don't really know what she's from, but she was good. I think she's been in like horror movies that I haven't seen because I'm a scared of cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like mostly horror movies, so this will be the only thing I watch her in. And then Gemma Wellan, who plays Miss Taylor at the beginning, is...
Miss Weston.
Yeah, sorry.
Taylor,
yeah,
Miss Weston.
Gemma Taylor. Yeah. Yeah. She was in Game of Thrones and a whole bunch of other things, but yeah, she was great. And was there anybody else fun?
Jane Fairfax.
Oh yeah, and Jane Fairfax was,
Fine.
of course,
She's supposed to be bland. She's supposed to
well,
be...
exactly. That's the whole thing. But she did a really good job of it.
She did a really good job at being bland. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Amber Anderson. And yeah, I hadn't seen her in anything before. And like looking at her IMDb, I don't recognize anything. She's in Peaky Blinders, which is on my list, but I've never watched.
Yeah. She looks like Duckface a little bit.
She does. Yeah.
And maybe it was just the periodness in the Austen, but... There's just something about her, especially her first scene where she's like got a bonnet and the ringlets, and I'm just like, what? That doesn't make sense. But
yeah, no, she was great. Oh, and she's married to Connor Swindles.
Oh, there you go.
Delightful. Okay,
so just one thing before we move away from casting, and we haven't talked about it in a while because we've been having a couple good months, and obviously this is Austen, so it's not really applicable. But I just want to do a flag that we are back to a lot of white people movies, and obviously Clueless will be a little bit okay, but hopefully I'm not really holding. I would hope for other two movies this month, but we will keep an eye on it moving forward after having some good months of diversity.
Indeed. Yeah, this is very white.
Yes, but not surprising.
Yeah, not surprisingly. It honestly, there was a scene at the beginning that I'm like, are they playing it that Emma and who's her like
Miss Taylor?
Yeah, Emma and Miss Taylor are like kind of in love with each other.
Kind of in love, yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely got those vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and as expected, Elton is...
He's so much better at the beginning, though, than any other time. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's super funny at the beginning. I love his collar, like his
it's
gigantic
crazy
collar. Yeah, so his sort of demise is really good, because at the beginning I was like, wait, is he Elton? And then they said his name. But yeah, because he was great. And okay, so let's talk about the tension, because they did that was probably the best part of this movie.
Yeah, they did a really good job. It's very obvious that Knightley is obsessed with her. It's never also again never explained that he is her cousin. I think that's how it goes in the original.
Well, I think it's more like foster brother or something.
Okay.
Like,
why does he?
Because she says when they go to like
they
dance,
were never
she's
actually
like,
brother.
We're not actually. You're not actually my brother. So it's like, yeah, I'm not too sure how they're meant to be related, but it is still a little bit weird that they're like kind of grew up in the same house, but they're not technically related in some way. Yeah,
we'll get to that on Patreon.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just always there. Yeah, and is always looking at her and teasing her, and it's like, you know, it's there because you understand how romantic movies work, but then he understands it's there, and then it just once he realizes, he's like, oh, I'm not just like looking out for her, I'm looking at her. And then they dance with no gloves on. Oh my Which
God.
they had to get like permission from the accuracy person.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, well, they just ate maybe, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was not okay. They would have put their gloves on.
Well, like, and this leads me to the other parts of this that I'm like, you had an accuracy person on this movie, but Harriet and Martin kiss. Is that okay because he's a farmer? Like,
I think so. Like, and also because she wasn't higher status. Like, she was lower class. So the rules are kind of different. Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, Emma and Knightley are alone all the time together, but I guess it's okay because they're
like
weird
siblings-ish.
family something.
But then Emma and Elton end up alone in a carriage together, and
yeah, and I'm like, that's not like what? That's so weird to me, and I just and like it's funny because it's a carriage, and like we all know what happens in carriages. We all saw that. So,
but like, yeah, it's kind of also that, and maybe it's that they end up in a carriage, but nobody really knows that they're in a carriage, and that's the thing. Whereas,
yeah, maybe
because it was really about, it wasn't about what happened; it was about what people knew happened.
That's true.
Yeah,
yeah.
But oh man, but yeah, let's go back to the dancing with no gloves on, because man, like when he touches her waist with his bare hand, I'm just like, I have so many feelings.
I know.
Yeah. So it was really good. It was really good. Oh, do you want to talk about Frank Churchill?
Yeah, it was just like he's talked about so much that he like becomes Jacobian.
Yeah.
Like, I know that that's the point of the story, and he's there, but then he like definitely isn't all he was led up to be. He's really bland and also a dick.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And
I think that's the whole thing is like, oh, well, just wait until you meet this, like, you know, so-and-so's son who's like the heir of this fancy thing. And blah,
also,
blah, blah.
Okay, this is the thing. So Mr. Weston is alive, and then Frank is his son, and then Frank is the heir to his uncle's...
I'm assuming it's on his mom's side.
Oh, okay, that makes more... I forgot that moms existed.
Yeah, I would assume it was on that side.
Okay.
Yeah, so then he's looking after his dying aunt, and so it's kind of like he's the great hope of things, and like, oh, well, like when so-and-so comes, then I'll finally decide to, you know, invest in like figuring out my own future, like Emma figures that, and then it's like, oh no, I guess I'll marry my brother. So and okay, so Emma and Harriet, I really liked their arc.
I did too. Yeah. And like it goes hand in hand with like me not liking Emma, the character at the beginning, because she changes and her relationship with Harriet changes, and she like really learns to respect Harriet, and like the scene where they're like practicing dancing before the ball is like really cute.
It's really
and
cute.
Yeah,
it was good. And and she wasn't, I feel like definitely in the book, Harriet is very like overwrought and just like too much, whereas this was like a nice balance, I found. Yeah.
But she also wasn't mean when she's like, you like Knightleys. She didn't say you're a virgin who can't drive. So
exactly. Yeah,
she was
she was more chill than that. Yeah. And then as always, nosebleeds mean strong feelings.
Yeah. So this, like, the director, which was a woman, hooray, gets nosebleeds. So she wanted to put a nosebleed in the movie. And then Anya Taylor-Joy also gets nosebleeds and also can make them happen. She made this one happen.
Oh my God.
On cue. And so that's fun and blah, blah, blah. But then she does the cardinal sin of nosebleeds, and knowing the background of her and the director both having nosebleeds, and she tips her fucking head up, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is teaching all people in all the land how to not do nosebleeds. And it made me mad as a nosebleed person.
Tip your head forward so you don't
Keep your head forward.
It.
Get the blood out. Hold your nose like you would apply pressure to anything else.
Maybe when it's like a nosebleed that you know isn't like actually potentially.
Yeah, I guess so.
Really
it's probably
bad.
just a different kind of nosebleed than I have. But it just bothered me.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was gross. And also I'm like, oh, all the wardrobe. Ugh.
I know, right?
Especially if it was real blood. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay, should we talk about tropes? Because I feel like we've been going on and on. Yeah. Okay. I mean, number one trope here is the snobby, spoiled protagonist. Like, that's the whole
point. Yeah. So we have this cranky husband who's her brother-in-law, and like he's not in a lot, and her sister is really weird, and they're not in it enough for me to figure out what's happening. But the way that this cranky husband acted really made me feel Hugh Laurie in Sense and Sensibility, and so I just put it in here because I like to think about Hugh Laurie in Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we have a swoony dance, aka randomly dancing, and then oops, caught feelings. And and then they do the like Sound of Music, like the hand up and the like hand down the side.
Yep.
Which, I mean, obviously in Sound of Music, it was like a period type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this, it's also a period type thing, but it's also 100% a reference to that.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that thing where you like put your opposite arm above each other's heads.
Yeah, and
like,
not be referencing Sound of Music. That's not how
it's impossible.
movies in 2020 work.
No.
Yeah. And it's just like, this dance is really swoony. We've got a lot of swoony dances in our history, but I don't think any dance will ever be swoonier than the Sound of Music dance.
No.
Because
Sorry. I thought you meant this, and I was like, no, the Sound of Music.
Oh yeah, Sound of Music dance is the swooniest dance of all. Whenever you see it on your internet, you just have to stop and watch it.
Yeah. Ugh, delightful. Okay.
Oh, so we have a dashing rescue, which is Frank rescuing Harriet from these unseen Romani people.
Yeah.
Which is really random and kind of a weird move on Jane's part to just get the plot going, but whatever. I'm not going to judge her.
A thing. There's a giant misunderstanding. There's many giant misunderstandings, but yeah, there's a lot of giant misunderstandings. Primarily, the main one I think is that Elton is spending time with Emma thinks it's with Harriet, and he thinks it's with Jane, and like looking after her friend to impress her, and like, so it's that whole misunderstanding.
Yeah, and that wasn't even what I was referencing. I was referencing when Harriet is attacked, and Emma asks Frank Churchill to stay because she thinks Harriet likes Frank Churchill, and then Knightley is all upset, and then he goes home, and then he's like, "You love Frank Churchill." She's like, "No, I don't." Yeah,
no, I don't. Yeah,
so many misunderstandings.
So many misunderstandings. I mean, it's Jane Austen.
Yeah, exactly.
Serial fiction, also.
Yes.
Yeah, and then white guys that look the same.
Yeah, the colors don't help.
No.
Yeah.
The hairstyles don't help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. Okay, Lindsay, does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
Like, yes.
Yeah.
It's better than Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice when they just spend the entire time talking about men.
Yeah,
so there's that.
Emma's she's very nosy about all kinds of things in other people's lives, including their relationship status. But so there's that, and then she like does her art and drawing and stuff, and I don't know. It's half decent. Okay, should we make a pie?
Yeah, we got lots of stuff.
Oh my god. Okay, high collars and epic hats.
Oh man, the collars were so high, and the hats
both
were amazing.
Both men's and women's collars, and also men's and women's hats.
Yeah,
like the church bonnet situation.
Yeah, was amazing, and then the top hats were fantastic. And Knightley had like one in every color. It was great.
Yeah. And I think Emma at one point was wearing like a dress that had like 3 different collars all stacked on each other.
Yeah.
It was delightful. Also because she has a very long neck, so she can pull it off.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 25?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nightly swoon. Whew.
Yeah.
That ending, man. Oh yeah. Goodness
it's so
gracious.
Good. I don't know. 40?
40. Yeah. 40 is good. Balls ending at dawn. Such a Jane Austen thing.
Such a Jane Austen thing and such a Bridgerton thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
10, 15?
15?
Yeah, 15 is good.
15. And that leaves us with
20?
30? 20 of Mr. Woodhouse hiding from the cold.
So good with his little screens. He's so
ridiculous. Screens, and he's like flying over to the windows and like panicking, and I was like, oh, relatable. It's been unseasonably cold here, and we both live in cold apartments, so it was highly relatable.
Yes.
I am Mr. Woodhouse.
At least right now. But also, like, if I had the ability to screen myself so my daughter could illegally kiss her lover.
I know, yeah. It was like, the screens both for the warmth and the panic. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Lizzie, what's next for them?
Well, it's Jane, so, you know, I'm into it. And also, they were really good friends, which is the thing that you don't get in Pride and Prejudice. Mm-hmm. So I'm here for it. It's a different relationship than all the other ones.
Yeah, they actually know a lot about each other and know how, like, you know, like they would know like what the other person likes to eat for breakfast and like things like that all these other like couples in especially like Jane Austen and other period things would have absolutely no idea before they are married. Yeah,
and like he makes what would seem the ultimate sacrifice for a man of his ranking at that time. He's like, I will leave my house, which is like a huge fancy dancy house. Like he'll still own it, but he's like, I will not live there. I'll live here with you. And like, that's a huge deal. Mm-hmm. And so, I feel good about them.
Delightful. And Lindsay, what's next for us?
Well, in our very special themed month of female first name movies,
Yeah. That's why I didn't call it out at the beginning, because it's a weird one, but it's the theme.
It's the theme. We'll be watching another adaptation movie.
Yeah.
But not a Jane Austen adaptation. We'll be watching Roxanne, which
Amazing.
I haven't seen in forever. I'm slightly concerned about its holding upness because it's from the 80s.
I think it's not going to be... Yeah. It'll be an experience. Yes. Anyways.
But it'll be fun.
Yeah. So exciting. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. We would love it if you could leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram and Threads.
You can also head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes for us to add to the list. Let us know. I think we're running out of Austen adaptations, except for, like, BBC ones, so...
Yeah.
BBC ones are fine, but we probably won't watch them because there's only so many you can talk about. Tropes are all the same because it's the same story. So,
yeah.
But if you have any other good ones, let us know because we love an Austen.
Yeah.
And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub, as we've alluded to many times in this, because how could you not? Patreon this month is Clueless. Yep. Reason for the season. Can't wait to talk about Paul Rudd and also Breckenmeyer because I love him in that movie.
I just love that. I love that movie.
I love that movie so much. I'm very excited for that conversation.
And if you join our Patreon, you get access also to all of the back Patreon exclusives, including last month's, which was Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yep.
The rom-commiest of rom-coms.
Yes. And also, we've done Jane Austen Book Club on our Patreon, and we also did both Pride and Prejudices, 1995 and 2005, and had some real deep dives into our Darcy rankings. So,
oh man,
if you are feeling the need for more Austen, we've got a lot on the main feed and also on the Patreon.
Yeah, so many Austens.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts on this movie. Did you like it? Are you obsessed? And in the meantime, Miss Woodhouse has invited us to Hartfield. Thanks, bye.
Bye.